Hello children. Today I am planning to take a class on auxiliary verb and modal verbs. Auxiliary and modal verbs. In my previous lecture on when I was taking up your class on parts of speech, there I took verb and there I spoke about what auxiliary and modal verbs and transitive, intransitive. In this lecture, I will take up auxiliary and modal verbs in depth. So let's see. First, let's recapitulate what verbs are. Verbs. Verbs are action denoting words. The words that shows action, state or situation of the subject in a sentence is known as verbs. Verbs are also known as action words or doing words. They are always taken up as that they perform an action. Okay, the words which perform an action, okay, they are taken as action words or doing words. They perform an action or they denote, these words denote the action which is being performed by the subject. Subject perform these actions. Okay, so these words are known as, verbs. These words not only express action performed by the subject, they also give us an idea about the state or situation the subject is in. Okay, they talk both about state and situation in which it is. Okay, so verbs are words which represent firstly action, second state or situation in which the subject is. Okay. Now let's see. Take up an example. I am teaching English. I am teaching English. In this sentence, teaching is the verb because this word teaching is denoting the action which is performed by the subject I. I here is the subject and this teaching shows the action performed by this subject I. It's stating the action performed by subject I. Now take another example. I had an accident a few days ago. Here had is a verb. This had acts as a verb. Okay. Now this mentions the state or situation faced by the subject. This is representing the tense, the verb form in a tense. The verb form which is representing tenses. Okay. So here we will say that had is representing it. It is mentioning the state, the state in which it is being done. It is in a tense situation. Okay, faced by the subject I. I will meet you next year. Here the verb will, okay, shows the future state of action. Shows the future state of action, and meet is another verb which shows the action performed by the subject I. Clear? Here in the first example, I had an accident a few days ago. In this, what happens? The verb had shows that the action is being done or performed by has been performed in the past. This action has taken place in the past. It is representing the tense. or the state. Now come to the next verb. So from the above examples, it has been clear that verb denotes action performed by a subject or the state of the subject. State means situation. State means situation. State is here the situation in which situation the tense in which the subject is. Till here it is clear? Okay. Now let's move to the second part. Now we will go on to the types of verbs. First we will move on with what are the different types of verbs. Verbs is basically categorized as first as main verb, okay, or the lexical verbs. Main verbs are also known as lexical verbs. Second is your helping verb or the auxiliary verbs. Helping verbs are also known as auxiliary verbs. Now, lexical verbs take up an example. An example, I am teaching English. Here, teaching is the main verb. It is the main verb. Okay, it is showing the action, main action. This is the main action word here. It is showing the action which is performed by the subject I. In the second example, when we come and talk about the helping verb, okay, helping verb, verbs which helps the main verb to form tenses, voices or mood. Its mood is called helping or auxiliary words. Okay, so this is the definition of helping words. This is the definition of helping verbs. That what helping verbs are? Helping verbs, these are the verbs which helps the main verb to form tenses. It helps in the formation of tenses. With the help of the helping verb, we come to know that what is the form of the tense. Whether it is simple present tense, whether it is past tense or future tense. It helps in forming the voices. Voices is your active and passive voices. The conversion appears when we convert from active voice to passive voice. Or the mood. Mood is what is the mental thought or condition of that person. Mood is called helping or auxiliary verbs. Clear? So now recapitulate once more. Verbs are divided into two parts. Here main verb, helping verbs. Okay. Main verb is also known as lexical verbs. Helping verbs are also known as auxiliary verbs. Now, we'll take an example. What is the work of a main verb? The main work of main verb is it shows main action performed by I. And what is that action? It is the action of teaching. I am teaching English. In this, teaching is the main verb and this action is being performed by the subject I. Clear? Now, when we come to the definition of helping verbs say verbs which helps the main verb to form voices or mood or tenses is called helping or auxiliary verbs. Okay, now let's take an example one by one where helping verb acts as a tense, helps in forming a tense, helps in conversion from voice and helps in showing a mood. First example. First we will take the formation of tense. How a tense is being formed with the help of a helping verb. I am teaching. Okay. So here the helping verb am is which tense it is showing? It is showing the present tense. The action is being done right now. I am teaching. So here am is working as an helping verb denoting the tense, present tense. Second example, I was teaching. Here the helping verb was. It is denoting the action that has been performed in the past. When I say I will teach, here the very helping verb will speaks about which tense? It speaks about the future tense. So here am, was and will, these are known as helping verbs. So in these sentences, what are the helping verbs? Am, was and will. Am is showing present tense. Present tense it is showing. Was is showing past tense. And will is showing future tense. Clear everyone? Oh, fine. Now let's move further and now let's see how helping verbs helps in the formation of voices. It is from active to passive. When I take, for example, I eat a mango. This sentence is in active voice. When I convert it into passive form, then it becomes a mango is eaten by me. Here is the helping verb, eaten is the main verb. Here is helping the main verb to form a meaningful sentence. A meaningful sentence. Clear? This, when we change from active voice to passive voice, we use a helping verb. Is. Here we have used the verb is. Now let's take up our another section. Okay. So when I say here again, now we have done how tense works. We have done tense, how helping verb helps in tenses, how it helps from conversion from active voice to passive voice. Now we will see the mood, how helping verbs help in forming moods. Helping verbs help in forming moods. When I say, it shows the mood. When I say here, it may rain today. Okay, so here may is the helping verb. This may is a helping verb. Okay, so and rain is what? Here rain is what? Rain is the main verb. This is the main verb. Okay, so this is taken up as modal. This is showing the possibility. The helping verb may is showing the possibility that it may rain today. There's no confirmation, but still somewhere I'm getting some intuitions. I'm thinking it from within. I'm getting some intuitions that it may rain today. Okay, so there is a possibility. So here this may as a possibility acts as a helping verb. Okay, now next take another example. I can swim. Here can is helping verb. Okay, here can acts as an helping verb. Here swim is the main verb. What happens? This can shows the capability that the person, the subject, can swim. Okay, so this is can acts here as a helping modal verb. Helps in showing the mood. Now we'll come here in a more, we'll take up this in a more broader perspective. Auxiliary verbs. We are taking it first, auxiliary verb, then I will take up modal verbs. Auxiliary verb is divided into, has two parts. Primary auxiliary, okay, and the second part is your modal auxiliary or modals. Here, what first we will take up primary auxiliary. What all comes under primary auxiliary? Three categories comes under modal auxiliaries. Three categories comes under modal auxiliary. First is to be form. Okay, so what all comes in to be form? Be, being, is, am, are, was, and were. They come in the to be form. To be form, we find be, being, been, is, am, are, was, and were. When we use to have, okay, so here have, has, had, and have. To do form, do, does, and did. Now when we talk about modal auxiliaries, here in modal auxiliary, shall, should, would, could, can, may, might, ought to, dare, must, need, will, used to. All these are modal auxiliaries. They shows or represent the moods of the subject or the speaker. Words used to show moods. Okay. Now let's define modal. What modals are? Verbs that is used with main verb to express a mood. Okay. And what moods can be? It can be possibility, it can be permission or obligation. This is known as here, this is known as modals. This can be taken up as modals. This is the definition of modals. What modals is. So now let's take a recapitulate of it. Auxiliary verbs, primary auxiliary, and modal auxiliary or modals. Primary auxiliaries are categorized into three. To be, in to be form, be, being, been, is, am, are, was, and were. To be, have, has, had, having. To do, does, did. These are the forms that comes under primary auxiliary. Okay, in three forms. When we talk about modal verbs shall, should, would, could, can, may, might, ought to, dare, must, need, will, used to. Okay, so and what these words depict, they shows the possibility of anything which may happen, permission, to take permission from others to perform any activity, or obligation when you are obliging someone by doing something. Here it represents your mood. Okay, so from mood it becomes your modals. Clear? Now let's see the other part of it. Okay, let's take up an example here. The example which I'm going to take is, first, Virat is playing cricket. Okay, Virat Kohli is a cricketer, a very famous cricketer. So here is acts as a helping verb. And what is the main verb here? Playing is the main verb. Okay, take another example. Virat is a cricketer. First sentence, Virat is playing a cricket. Is the helping verb and playing is the main verb. But when I take another example, Virat is a cricketer. Here we have only one verb. Only one verb, that is. But this is will not act as a helping verb. It will act as a main verb. This helping verb becomes a main verb because here is the only verb present here. Okay, to show that Virat is playing cricket. This shows the action. Okay, this is showing the action. Okay, that he is a cricketer. So here acts as a main verb instead of helping verb. So children, here at times helping verbs also acts as main verb. If in a sentence main verb is followed, a helping verb is followed by main verb, then only we can have two verbs. Okay, and the verb before the main verb can be taken up as a helping verb. The main verb, if suppose main verb is here, then and another verb which is coming before the main verb, then only this verb can be taken up as a helping verb. But if in a sentence there is only one verb, so it may appear that it is a helping verb, but if the sentence has only one verb, it will be taken up as a main verb. Okay, now take up another example. I have visited Taj Mahal 2 times. Okay, here have is helping verb. Okay, and visited is the main verb. Here two verbs are there. One is your that visited, another is your have. So here this becomes the main verb and this becomes your helping verb. Okay, if suppose I take up another example, I say I have a car. Here have, this is the main verb because here we have only one verb and this verb acts as a main verb. This verb have acts as a main verb. There is no presence of main verb. Okay, helping verb. There is only one verb and this have acts as a main verb. Okay, now let's take few notes before taking this chapter to its climax, to its end. Notes. What are the notes? First is, if a sentence has only one verb, it is the main verb. As I just now told you, if a sentence has only one verb, here have is the only one verb, so it acts as a helping verb. So here first note point is that if a sentence has only one verb, it acts as a main verb. Second is what? Second is, if a sentence has two or more verbs, then later one is main verb and the previous one is the helping verb. Okay, this sentence means that if I take an example, Mohan is playing cricket. Here is the helping verb. Okay, and playing becomes the main verb. Okay, two verbs are there. Okay, this verb comes at the end, so it is taken as helping, and this verb, it comes before the main verb, so it is taken up as helping verb. The verb which comes or comes after the helping verb, it is taken up as a main verb. Okay, fine. So now take up another example here. When I say here that I have been reading, here there is two helping verbs, have and been. Okay, so here these have and been acts as a helping verb and reading is the main verb. Clear? I have been a teacher. I have been a teacher. So here only have acts as a helping verb and been acts as a main verb. Okay, pay here today. I have been reading. Okay, so here three verbs are there. 1, 2 and 3 verbs are there. So the end one will be your main verb. This one will be the main verb, and the two verbs which comes before the main verb will be your helping verb. Clear? But in the next sentence, when I say I have been a teacher, okay, so here been acts as the main verb, okay, and have here acts as the helping verb. Here been performs the function of the main verb Now, if again I take a sentence and say that I have a car. Here have acts as a main verb because we have only one verb here. So this verb becomes the main verb despite being a helping verb. This acts as a main verb. Okay, clear? Okay, now let's take another important note. Modal verbs used as helping verb, not as main verb. Children, modal verbs can never be taken up as a main verb. They can never perform the function of a main verb because modal verbs are followed by main verbs. Modal verbs cannot act independently. They need a verb. Okay, can't act independently in a sentence. Clear? They will be followed by a main verb. For example, if I take this example, you can help me. Here can is what? It is a modal verb, and help is what? It is a main verb. Can you frame a sentence by hiding this main verb? Help. What the sentence will be? You can me. Is this sentence after hiding help? If I am looking at the sentence, you can me, is it making any sense? No, it is not making any sense. So modal verbs are always followed by a main verb. Okay, but if suppose I hide this can and I say you help me, it is making a complete meaningful sentence. So a main verb may not need the help of a modal verb, but a modal verb always need a help of the main verb. Clear? Now let's take up another example which follows like this. Here when I say he will come today, here will is the modal or helping verb which is showing the future, and come here is the main verb. This verb cannot work without this main verb come. Another example let's take. May I come in? May I come in? May is the modal auxiliary verb, modal helping verb. Okay, and here come acts as a main verb. Okay, if suppose I hide here may, I come in, it is making a sense, but grammatically it is wrong. But when I say may I come in, it is making sense. But if suppose I don't want to use come, if I'm not using the main verb and I am making the sentence with the help of this modal helping verb, so may I in, it's not making any sense. Okay, so modal verbs always need a main verb to make a complete sense. There is an exception with modals need and dare. These are basically known as semi-modal auxiliaries. Why semi-modal? Semi-modal because they can become alone. They can come alone in a sentence. They may come along with the main verb or alone. It may come. Okay, suppose I take up an example here. I need it. Here need acts as a main verb. Dare not. So dare not itself doesn't acts, dare here acts as a main verb. Here I need itself act as a main verb. Okay, so In this lecture, I think the very concept of verbs along with what is auxiliary and what is modal auxiliary verbs at times, and where we use main verbs, where we use auxiliary, how conversion takes place, what auxiliary verbs, what is the main function of an auxiliary verb, it's all being done here. Thank you, children.